If a picture paints 1,000 words, why can't I paint you? Words will never show you I've come to know. If a face could launch 1,000 ships, where am I to go? It's only you will go. You're all that's left me now. One by one, your staff would all go out, and you and I would simply fade out. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for allowing me in your wonderful homes. In an attempt to bring a soup song of amusement, to lighten the shadows of mundane reality. Firstly, I should like to thank the BBC for allowing me to work here. Secondly, to thank the wife and kids for making it necessary. But the biggest vote of thanks must go to my parents for that brief moment of indiscretion all those years ago behind a brewery. Which resulted in me being here now. How they loved me, Mummy and Daddy. When I was born, Mother was so overjoyed, the midwife had to slap her to stop her from screaming. Daddy was such fun to be with. He was always up to mischief. When I was christened, he put piranha fish in the font. And the games we played. Blind man's buff on Beachy Head. Hide and seek, and he was very good at it. He'd hide and I'd have to find him. Cardiff, Glasgow, Edinburgh. Twice a year he used to take me out deer shooting, which I thoroughly enjoyed. The only thing I didn't like was when he made me run through the forest with antlers on my cap. But I think I loved Dad most when he pretended to be annoyed. Like the time we went shark fishing and I fell off the hook. Happy memories of a happy childhood. Oochie-coochie-coo.
Well, you can say what you like, but it's a funny-looking baby to me.
He's a bit odd.
I mean, I've never seen one with a cleft chin and 2 warts under its nose.
You're looking at the wrong ends.
I say, no wonder it struggled when I tried to put the dummy in.
It could have been worse. It could have been a rusk.
No, seriously. I cannot believe that your Miriam's abandoned it.
Oh, she has. Little Leslie. My Miriam, my firstborn.
And what does your Bert think of all this?
He's not sobered up yet, of course. He did mention something about putting shutters on the pram.
Well, I mean, what have you let yourself in for,
I
Chuck?
can't about his flesh and blood.
It's no good doing about it, is it? I mean, the damage is done now, isn't it?
I can do about
Well, look, you sit down, Chuck. I've got a bottle of my Leonard's homemade wine. I think we both need a drink after that.
I just have to keep him in a lot, that's all. Frighten the other kids.
I should have a mug full if I were you, Chuck.
Oh, thank you. A bit too early for me, really, you know. Oh, I say, that's nice. Goes right down to the edge of your corset.
You've never finished it already.
Very nice.
Well, I'll give you a bit more, but sip this because it's very potent in its taste. You know, it's very deceptive. My Leonard knows all about winemaking because he's a devotee of Bacchus.
Well, so was Bert till he had his hernia. Oh, I say, that's nice. What sort of wine is this?
Well, would you believe when I tell you it's made from carrots?
Carrots?
Very good for the eyesight.
You can see better when you get drunk.
You know, whenever I drink wine, it always reminds me of the time during the war with that big Australian in the Ritz.
Oh, help me God, fancy thinking about him.
Yeah.
Big Harold from Brisbane.
Same.
I was on about his billabong.
Well, I mean, he was a big lad, you know. Did you ever see his didgeridoo?
No, but then again, I didn't know him as well as you did.
Oh, he's a fine-looking fella,
Oh,
you
he
know.
was. I just wish sometimes you could turn the clock back to the war years, when we were single. All those dances, all those soldiers.
Yes, the Americans, the Free French, all those Czechs.
I always got paid cash myself.
Do you know, I've never told a living soul this, you know. But after the war, Harold wanted me to go back to Australia with him.
No.
Yeah. I could have had an assisted passage. There's only one snag, you see. He'd been captured at Burma, you see, and he was leading his men to Singapore when the Japanese surrounded them and his chindits were cut off.
What a tragedy. Mind you, having children isn't everything, is it?
I mean, although Leonard and I are supremely happy, I often wonder what life would have been like, you know, with Harold down under.
Well, that side of marriage soon wears off.
Here, down the hatch, Chuck.
Down with everything, polishing, ironing. And down with you, Bert.
Oh, wait. How can you say that after 25 years?
Very easily, he's bone idle. He spends so much time in bed to save wear and tear on his pyjamas. I bought him a corduroy nightshirt. He's lazy. 25 years of my life. Better happening. Quarter of a century I've given to that man. And yet, you know, despite our ups and downs, talked about holding hands before. Everywhere we go today, to this very day, we still hold hands.
Well, that's nice.
If we ever let go, we'll kill one another. Whoa, sing Matilda. Whoa, sing Matilda. There are many ills in this world that can depress the human spirit. Pestilence, plague, famine, drought, the evil drummers of war. But even these horrors pale into insignificance when compared to that ultimate folly of man's own making, the wedding reception. Now, I can dimly understand why people get married, because if it wasn't for marriage, men and women would have to fight with strangers. For the life of me, I cannot comprehend the reason for that sacrificial feast afterwards. Because, let's face it, the average wedding reception is about as enjoyable and as interesting as listening to Open University on a debate on the workings of a ferret's saliva gland. In Polish. Much against my will, the other week I was dragged off to a wedding. It was the marriage of the wife's eldest sister, Maud. The fact that she was getting married came as a somewhat emotional tremor, because the lady in question had been on the shelf for so long she was beginning to ferment. It was no secret in the family that she'd been frequently jilted. In fact, she'd been kept waiting at the church so often, the vicar made her wear a parking meter. It was a cold, drizzly day. We all huddled in the church, looking like refugees from a Zeppelin raid. I looked at the bridegroom, who was a dwarf from Luton. He was wearing a set of hired tails. I'm not saying he looked a mess, but Moss brothers were picketing the vestry. I felt sorry for the midget. He was white-faced, he was trembling, and he had no chance of escape because the wife's father had got hold of his neck in a half Nelson. Without warning, the geriatric organist struck up with that most doom-laden of themes, the wedding march. And then when he saw the bride drift down the aisle, he broke into the March of the Gladiators. I wasn't really surprised. I mean, she was dressed in white, and with the sheer size of her, it looked as though somebody was towing a sight screen to Lord's. I mean, I'm not saying she's fat, but they use her knickers for hang gliding. It was obvious that she was glad to be getting married because some brides carry a posy of flowers. She was waving a football rattle. She joined her husband at the altar. The midget craned his neck to look at his bride, screamed and tried to make a bolt for it. But the verger, who'd been well paid in advance to thwart such a move, felled him with a brass incense burner. The vicar looked at the bridegroom, he looked at the wife, he looked back at the bridegroom, he said, "You take this woman, I will have her delivered." The choir boys took the blinkers off, the hideous ceremony ground to a halt, and we trooped off to the wedding reception, which was held in a vast Gothic quarp hall the size of Wembley. The wife's family, we all sat down one side of the hall, the bridegroom's family sat down the other, and nobody dared cross no man's land in the middle, apart from the odd drunk or a lunatic ant. They'd hired a three-piece band that was so lousy, every time a waiter dropped a tray, we all got up and danced. The wife's family went at the running buffet like a shoal of piranha fish. In fact, the struggle for the sausage rolls got so fierce, Henry Cooper did the commentary. And the catering was a mess. The boiled ham had been cut so thin, somebody shouted to a waitress, "You deal and I'll shuffle." The wedding cake was a disaster. It was so stale we had to spray it with DDTs before the flies had landed on it. You couldn't put a knife through it. At the finish, they broke pieces off with a roll plug and a buzzsaw. The sherry was weak and warm and obviously a cheap one. I don't know who trod the grapes for it, but in my glass, it was a corn plaster. The dreary night rolled on. The mother-in-law got drunk and stood on a chair singing all the songs she'd learnt as a stormtrooper. Some fool locked himself in the loo and fell asleep. We crossed our legs so often at the end of the night we had braided kneecaps. Mercifully, it all came to an end when the bride picked up her husband and they went off in a van to Fleetwood, which I thought was an odd choice for winter, but as she said, well, you're always handy for a deck chair. The wife got very emotional, she said. Look at them, she said. She said, I can just see them on the first night in the hotel. It'll be like that television series, The Lovers. I said, with the difference in size, it'll be more like Mission Impossible.
Let's have you. Now then, what's your gimmick, apart from the false stomach?
This happens to be a real stomach.
What, do you want to be a goodie or a baddie?
What?
Do you want the women to kiss your gob on you? Well, all right, we'll think about that later. Let's have a look at you. What name do you want to wrestle under?
Dastardly Dawson.
I think we can do better than that. Let's see. Giant haystacks. Dwarf haystacks, that's it.
I beg your pardon?
You'll have to do something about that costume, too. You look like a boiled egg in a black egg pack. Well, let's see how you make out with the masher. Masher! Come on now.
Oh! Shit.
Now, that is lesson number 1. Never shake hands with the masher. All right, get on with it. Now, your head is being pulled out of its socket. Your whole past life is flashing in front of your eyes. Your body is racked with terrible pain.
I'm well aware of that.
What?
I said I'm well aware of that.
Well, get your head out then.
He won't let me.
Well, of course he won't let you. You've got to make him.
How?
Well, use your head.
I can't. He's got it.
Oh, but try the Billy Two Rivers method.
All right.
Oh, very good, Dwarf Haystacks.
I refuse to be known
by that ridiculous nondy plume, I wish to be known as Dastardly Dawson, the diabolical death machine.
Now that is lesson number 2. Never turn your back on the masher.
Oh, that's...
Come on. You're not going to stand for that, are you?
Certainly not. Oh! Ah! No!
Submit! Submit! Sub-bloody-met!
Now that is lesson number 3. Never wrestle with a deaf opponent.
Shish! Where's he gone, the coward? Come on! Show it up! Come on! Where are you? Come on! I'm ready for it!
All right, masher. That's enough of that. Come on over here. Time for din-dins.
Ding-ding, ooh.
You come in haystacks.
I'm trying to put them over.
Some time ago, the kids and I had on the show a relation of mine, Zebediah Twine, the conjurer. He wasn't a very good one, but much to our astonishment, we were inundated with letters to see him perform again. So I'm sure to be delighted. Ladies and gentlemen, Zebediah Twine, the conjurer. Perhaps you join me in a small sing-song. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Where would we be without good music? here. Do you know, I never slept a wink last night. I kept getting this hideous recurrent nightmare that I was an old sports car and the wife's mother had a foot on my throttle. I lay there in my trundled bed in a bemused stupor, and I gazed around at the familiar things. The rotting floorboards, the peeling wallpaper, the fly-spattered naked 40-watt bulb, the mouse droppings on the dresser, the sack thrust at the broken window, and I thought, by God, you're doing well for yourself, Les. The wife was sleeping like a log. She had her head in the fireplace. As usual, she was snoring with all the rhythmic grace of a gastric bullock. I bent across and kissed her gently on the black eye patch. She stirred and yawned, and with her having no teeth, it was rather like leaning over the rim of a damp bucket. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying the wife's ugly. But last Christmas, she stood under the mistletoe waiting for someone to kiss her, and she was still there at Lent. In fact, she went to see that film, The Elephant Man, and the audience thought she was making a personal appearance. From the other bedroom came the sound of the mother-in-law playing a record of Hitler's speeches. She'd obviously had a drink. She was firing a lure into the cat cinders. But that reminded me, I thought, how music has affected my life ever since I was a kid. At the age of 5, my dad gave me a packet of sandwiches and a bugle. And he opened the front door, he said, blow. Because Dad was great. I mean, my father used to actually collect old musical instruments, but he was very absent-minded because people used to come to the house to ask him where he'd put the lute. Mummy was a marvellous singer. She had a great voice. She could sing till the cows came home. And when she did sing, it sounded as though they'd arrived. In show business, probably the most prominent member of my family was my great-aunt Margaret. She was the last of the Gaiety girls in Edwardian London. And men used to drink champagne from a slipper and throw roses at her as she danced. She was 96 when she died, with damp feet and green fly. So my parents were determined that I should carry on the family tradition of music, and for over 7 years I sweated on the piano stool, and then things got better. They bought me a piano. And Dad was great. Then I used to sit there with my chubby little fists hitting the notes, and Dad was smashing. He used to leap out of bed and help me to keep time by banging the lid up and down on my fingers. And the neighbours used to come over and break the windows to hear me better, you know. In 1642, Prince Rupert's mercenaries smashed Cromwell's left flank at Naseby. In 1871, the Franco-Prussian War took a serious turn at the Siege of Rouen. And in 1903, from the Cowls of Bute, came the first report of an outbreak of sporran rash. Now, none of this has got anything at all to do with tonight's programme. It just shows how your mind wanders when you're worried. See, this is the first time I've hosted a quiz show. And quite frankly, I feel about as comfortable as a lame turkey sat on a pile of Paxo listening to Christmas carols. For any viewers, wherever they lay, who may be watching this debacle tonight, please don't fiddle with your controls on the set. Just because Terry Wogan isn't here doesn't mean your set's broke. So all I can say is I shall do my best, Terry, to keep this show on the high level of asininity that you created. What can one say except... Tonight I'd like to, if I may, play you a memorable song, one that is forever in our thoughts. It's a truly unforgettable number, and that's why it's called Unforgettable. Thank you. forgotten it. Please forgive me if I appear down in the mouth this evening, but I've just had some bad news. Tomorrow it's the mother-in-law's funeral. And she's cancelled it. Actually, despite the things I say about that woman, I'm very fond of her. When she was ill last year, I said to the wife, I said, don't worry about your mother. If she's at death's door, I'll pull her through. She went for a swim in Loch Ness in the Mozart and Piccadilly in the lake. I haven't seen her for about a fortnight. So it's a fortnight ago. I was in a public house with dubious distinction. I can imagine how I felt. There she was, lying on the floor of the 4 Ale bar in a pool of spilt Britvic and chewed cashew nuts. And 6 men from an oil rig were hitting her with bar stools. One of my neighbours said, "You got to help." I said, "No, 6 of them should be enough." Say, sissy, just take the weights off your feet. My feet are killing me. Oh, I'll kill that cat. Oh. Just look at my feet. I've got toes like crocus bulbs.
That's your own fault, isn't it? You should wear sensible shoes. They warn you about that, you know, at the manpower services.
I know, Chuck, but I've got very awkward feet. I can only wear a coat heel or French sabots. I went to one of those chipotterists. He took one look at my feet and he went quite pale. He said, "I've got rancid bunions," and then I'll come off.
Hey, look out. Here's Monsieur Jacques. Look busy.
Monsieur Jacques, a load of rubbish. You know that is, don't you?
No.
It's Arnold Burtonshaw, number 12, West Pole Street. The house with the dirty tools and the hamster.
Yes. Married Edie Breakfast out of the pick and mix counter at Price Joy's.
That's the one.
Oh.
Well, she's had 3 kids before, you know.
I didn't know that.
To Alaska in Folkestone. In the ATS, she was in charge of an ack battery. And they performed. While there was a lull in the bombing. He told her it was a Polish count. He came from Bootle.
So it was a marriage of convenience, then?
Oh, no, they got married in church. She had no right to, you know. I mean, she was all in white. She got married in white. She drifted down the aisle like an Alp. I'll tell you one thing, it's a damn good job that the vicar was a midwife. And I'll tell you something else, Chuck.
What's that, love?
The baby was born with a broken arm.
How come?
He was hanging on till after the wedding.
Not many customers in tonight, is there?
You're not really surprised with Monsieur Henry's cooking, are you? It's muck.
Muck?
Muck.
Oh. No, I can't agree with you there, Chuck. Monsieur Henry's cuisine, I mean, is really quite adventurous. Hey, Chuck, did you know there were snails on the menu tonight?
Well, that doesn't surprise me. It never washes the cabbage.
I was referring to the edible snail. L'escargot.
He's no damn right to sell horse meat.
What are you talking about? He doesn't sell horse meat.
Oh, Taradiddle, you've just said it. You've just said it.
I said nothing of the kind.
Yes, you did. You said Les Escargots. Well, I backed that in the Grand National.
I say I had it in the kitchen sweep, 50 pence each way. Mark my words. That grilled sirloin will have stripes on. That's where he was whipping it, the French from.
Well, I don't know where that came from, but I know where it's going. Your trouble is you're just crass, Ada. Absolutely crass. And there's too much of this drink, drink, drink. I've warned you before, when the wine is in, the wit is out. Monsieur Henry's culinary expertise is known the length and breadth of Bacup. It's quite superb, second to none, par excellence. If you could see the things that man can do a la carte.
I've seen what he can do at the back of his midi, that's about
You really
Wait,
are.
Smith!
Oh, shut up. Oh, he's a little trier, isn't he?
Damn,
that
he's
one?
only been in since 3 o'clock. What's the matter with him?
He's a regular, of course, you know.
yes.
Oh, yes, comes in here all the time. He always goes for the piste de resistance.
Probably got a weak bladder.
Honestly, Ada. Must you be so awful?
Thank you very
You're as common... Well, that's ruined Florrie's Cream Lagoon, hasn't it?
It'll do him no harm.
Hey, God help us.
Oh, no, Ada, I don't believe it. This is really too much, you know.
It's purely medicinal. It's an emergency contingency in case of a nuclear attack. It'll come in very handy in cases of severe shock.
Wait, Smith!
All right, all right. He's another one, too. He's a regular. He's been coming in for months, ever since he was banned from the Cardome over that incident with the buck rarebit.
Wait, Smith!
Oh, shut up. He's got the patience of a saint, hasn't he?
He'll need to be when he samples Monsieur Henry's cook in its muck.
Will you stop referring to it as muck, Ada?
Muck, muck, muck.
Voice down, somebody'll hear us.
Well, I don't care. Listen, I took a dolly bag back the other week of steak Diane for our Rover. And you know the dog spent the entire night in the corner with its paw down its throat.
Ada, look. That fella seems to be having a heart attack.
He's gone the colour of putty. Oh, he's got his face in his omelette.
Oh, yes. Is that the cruet sticking out?
Hello, what's that piece of stick of celery doing there? Well, it's a great pity, but we can't help him.
Why not?
It's not our table, is it? Good evening. I went to the doctor last week. I said, can I have some sleeping pills for the wife? He said, why? I said, she woke up. My wife is a very beautiful woman with a very interesting left eye. The right one keeps looking at it. She can be full of changes and surprises. The other morning she gave me breakfast in bed. It slid off the plate when she threw it. I didn't mind. There was something strangely erotic about poached egg on quilt. I know why she was annoyed I'd spilt cocoa down the front of a nightdress. Served me right for wearing it. She stood there framed in the doorway like an outraged raccoon. And she had this come-to-bed look about her. She took her teeth out. You see, I haven't spoken to the wife for 5 years. It's not that we've had a row, it's just I'm not quick enough to interrupt. I'm not saying she talks a lot, but her mouth was open so often last winter we had to lag her tonsils. Very childish woman. We had a tiff the other night. I went upstairs for a bath. She followed me to the bathroom and deliberately sank me duck. When I got my own back, I squirted algae pan in the rugby shorts. She's never been the same since we first got engaged in Cornwall and she fell down a wishing well. I was amazed I didn't know they worked.
again bring you excitement of first magnitude. I myself, Zebediah Twine, brings to light the art of the pickpocket, in which I like to say, to pick a person's pockets without the person noticing that he lost anything from his person of any valuability or whatsoever. Now, in the course of this demonstration, I shall require the good offices of somewhere from the audience to assist me in this demonstration. Does anyone in the audience could help me in this little feat of laying away and pickpocketing? Anybody help me? Now, come on, please. Very good. Ah, very good sport. Take it over, Blender. And we've never met before, have we, sir? Never met before, sir. Now, don't worry, sir, I shouted that. We're going to give him a round of applause for being a damn good sport. Round of applause. Oh, very good help. Now, listen, don't be yourself, sir. Under no circumstance will I embarrass you. And I shall attempt to remove various artifacts from your person without you noticing what is happening. And this is the art of the whole thing, so it's very nice to see you, sir. And I sincerely hope to be on the stage for the first time. Hope possibly best to embarrass you. We're trying to see the best possible battle. You think you're really tense, sir. Don't try to reach his tense. You could possibly avoid it. Tell me, sir, could you kindly tell me the time?
8:20.
Are you enjoying your first visit to the city? It's the first time you've been to the music hall. Have you been here before, sir? Thank you, sir. Thank you for being a very good sport. A round of applause, thank you. Just a minute, sir, before you go. Haven't you forgotten something?
No.
Excuse me, sir.
Oh,
I'm asking the average man in the street what he knows about...
I say, you're not Esther Ranson, are you?
No, I'm afraid I'm not.
Oh, what a pity. I've got great admiration for her, you know. I'm so impressed by her intelligence. The way she rails against the bureaucrats and the establishment. The way she takes up the sword in defence of the little man. Apart from that, you know, not many people know that she's got a great pen and nothing.
Well, I'm sorry I'm not Esther Ranson, but I would like to know what you know about coupling rods, distributor shafts and big ends. And cams.
Ooh, coming knickers.
And rear chassis.
Rear chassis, bounce up and down. Ooh, bomb, jelly on a plate. Come here. No, don't leave me.
You know, Elsie says she'd never go anywhere else. Oh, it's lovely. Good evening.
Hello.
Oh, well, this is lovely. Ada, what are you doing?
She's damn ridiculous. Like climbing an Alp.
Pig ignorant of tag. Well, you really are. Tell you what, love. They've done this place up lovely, haven't they?
Very nice. Surprising what you can do with chipboard, some lights and laser beams. It's hard to believe this used to be a slaughterhouse.
Can I get you a drink?
Oh, good evening. Yes, yes, we'll have a couple of halves of lager and a packet of dry roasted.
I'm sorry, ladies, I only do cocktails.
Oh. How about you, Ada? I bet you would like a Harvey Wallbanger.
I think I'll have a drink first.
Oh, it looks very nice. What does it taste like?
It's quite dry, actually.
I'm not surprised it's got a little umbrella stuck in the glass.
How much are they, love?
£3.60.
Show me.
£3.60. Yes, well, give us a couple of those.
Certainly, madam. Shaken?
At £3.60 you go, you're bloody right, I'm shaking.
What is the matter with you? You've been nothing but a flaming misery ever since we got in here. We're supposed to be out enjoying things.
Sorry, love. I just didn't want to burden you with my problems. But I know I can talk to you, I always could. But I'm having a bit of a domestic upheaval at home. My bird.
Your bird? Are you sure of your facts?
Oh, yes. A little thing. You know, Ada, a woman knows the sign. He started having a wash. The other night I found his thermal long johns in the Venusi.
Have you any idea who it could be?
You know her?
You are?
It's the one from number 42.
Number 42? That house with the dirty tools and the vacant possession sign in the way. Oh, this is Cotler's mucker. Oh, she's nothing but a strumpet.
Tell you what, I could tell you some stories about that woman, but I'm not one for going behind people's backs. I'll tell you this, during the war she had more soldiers than Eisenhower. I've given him my all. Given him my all.
Yes, well, you want to try and cheer up, love. I mean, a night out with the girls is probably just what you need. Oh, thank you. Oh, well, bottoms up.
Well, what do you think, ladies? Nice and fruity, eh?
Well, not yet, but the night's still very young.
Oh, I said there's Madge on the dance floor.
Well, oh, yes. I didn't know she could break dance.
No, she can't. She's had a hip replacement done. She... Oh, there's Veronica.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Yeah, what's she wearing? Just like one of them boob tubes. It's a bit unusual, isn't it?
it is when you've got a string vest underneath.
What's happening now?
And now, ladies, direct from Finland, please give a big welcome to Olaf, the mighty Viking.
What the hell's going on?
The announcement. It's Olaf, the mighty Viking. The male stripper.
I hope he's better than that fella out from the Corp and did our hallway. I'm still picking lumps of anaglipter off the architrave.
Silly muffin. Olaf, the mighty Viking, is a stripper. He's going to take his clothes off.
What, are you going to take everything off? What are you going to be? Oh, it's disgusting.
Oh, I don't know. It's quite artistic, really.
Well, I'm not looking.
Oh, he's taken off his horned helmet.
Oh, no.
Yes, he's put his axe on the bandstand. Oh, there goes the leather apron. Mind you, he's obviously a gentleman. He's kept his socks on.
What's left?
Not for me to say, Ed.
Oh, my God, he's got nothing on but that mask.
Hang on. He's going to take the mask off.
Oh, I'm not looking. Definitely not looking now.
Oh, flame neck.
No.
Oh, Ed, I think you should look.
No, and that's final.
It's your choice, of course, but, I mean, I thought you might want to know where Bert had been every night this week.
Hey, you get down alone, Bert. You hear me?
Not a bit of formality here, ladies and gentlemen. It's the part of the show you've all been waiting for. And, of course, Melody Hour. Now, normally, I play a tune which we can all join in with, one of the old love songs, but tonight I'd like to talk in terms of classical rendition. I was thinking more in terms of the Fowls Pavane for Infante di Funk, which is a wonderful thing. The fowl is a much maligned composer. A lot of problems. But tonight I'd like to explain something about the song I'm about to play. It's Rafale's Pavane for Infante Defunct. Many people believe it's a Roman remedy for piles, but it's not. It's a wonderful song, and I think Rafale deserves everything he can get out of it. Sure you remember that. Sorry about this. When one talks in terms of Ravel as a composer, you must always remember end of series Jeeps. Ravel was a very small man. There's such an air of romance in this studio tonight. So much so I thought I'd narrate a love story to warm the heart, worthy of Mills and Boon. The winter of 1910, my great-great-grandfather, Rathbone Emmerdale Dawson, found himself lost in the blinding snowfields of northern Mackenzie Sound in Canada. His journal of that perilous trek frankly moved me to tears. It reads, Monday, I am alone and lost. My face is a mask of crusted ice, and I've lost my watercress sandwiches. Oh, the bitter cold. This madden fandango of swirling pain. Tuesday, will the agony never end? Hunger gnaws me very vitals. This morning I had to eat my dog team. Delicious with whipped cream and almond paste. I cannot go on, my limbs are leaden and I've run out of toilet paper. Wednesday, half-day closing. Close to the Grim Reaper, Rathbones sank to his knees in the blizzard, and the eternal sleep began to creep over him. Suddenly heard a voice shouting through the blinding white wilderness. Don't give up, White Hunter. Live, if only for me. He opened one eye, which was heavy with icicle. And as the storm abated slightly, he saw an Indian maiden standing at the other end of a vast lake. He staggered to his feet and saw how beautiful she was. And he cried aloud, I love you. Yeah, guess so. And she shouted back, and I love you. He now had the will to live. He dug a hole in the snow and he survived the winter by living off Arctic lichen, parts of his vest and tandoori takeaway chicken. For 5 years, they stood on each side of that vast lake shouting, I love you. And she would shout, I love you. He couldn't swim across the lake to his beloved. It was too cold with heavy currents. But one day, his passion overcame. He could stand the separation no longer. Throwing off his furs and dropping his fowling piece, he plunged naked into that lake. But within seconds, he was dead. Frozen harder than a piece of 3-ply. But such his love, that Indian maiden never forgot his bravery and devotion, and she named the lake after him. It's there to this day, in the same name, Lake Stupid.
It's me thumb, Doctor.
So I can see. Poor old thing. Does it hurt a lot?
No, but it throbs a bit.
Yes, they do tend to throb quite a bit. Well, we'd better have a look at your thumb.
Wouldn't it be easier if I brought my thumb round to you?
What a good idea. It's worth going private. How did it happen?
Well, I wanted the scissors to cut my fingernails.
Yes.
And my wife said, Bert, if you're looking for the scissors, it'll be my bet they're in my sewing basket.
Yes.
So I said, where is it? Oh. And she said, oh, Bert, you are hopeless.
Honestly.
Behind the armchair where it's always been.
Yeah.
So I went over to the armchair and I looked behind it and there it was.
Yes.
So I leant over, and I lifted the lid. And I put my hand inside.
Oh, don't stop now.
And then... and that's when it happened.
Go on.
I
stuck my thumb on the needle.
My God, you've known suffering, haven't you? Well, let's see what we can do for you. Down to business. Your file. Excuse me while I just nip over to the filing cabinet. Bickerstaff, isn't it?
Yes, that's right.
Glasses. Give me glasses. Can you put my glasses on? Thank you. Here we are, Bickerstaff.
Yes.
Hysterectomy.
No, that's not me.
Bickerstaff, Albert.
Yeah.
Good Lord. What a compendium of pain.
Yes.
You have been through the mill, haven't you? 1986, November. Gritting eye.
Yes.
Just outside Tottenham. March 1987, nosebleed.
Yes.
My God, you've not enjoyed the best of health, have you?
Well, you just have to do the best you can, you know.
Well, that's the spirit.
Yes.
Now, you probably haven't noticed, but I've been in a bit of a pickle myself. That's the last time I used a trampoline to put a motor moor on to clear back the ivy up a wall. Now then, we'd better get that thumb x-rayed. Excuse me. I've always wanted to appear with a large cast. Here we go. Hello! X-ray department! Dr. Fawcett here. I'm sending along a thumb case. What? No, it's not a bad line. It's a bad arm. All right. You have to speak up, I can't hear you. What? Oh, fine. Yes, we're good. Right, thank you. Goodbye. Right. They're on the way now.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm very grateful.
That's what we're here for. Well, I better give you something to ease the pain. Pen. Where's my pen? Oh. It's inside left trouser pocket. Could you... Yes, it's in there, if you could. Find your own digs. Right. Prescription. Oh, no. So...
It could have been worse, you know. It could have been my left thumb.
Yes, well, off you go to the ambulance.
Thank you very much. Oh, by the way, will it still be possible for me to Well, you know, as usual.
Well, if I can, you can. Good evening. My name is Zebediah Twine, as Napoleon extraordinaire. As tonight for the first time on the British stage, I went to perform a death-defying feat that I learned from a monk in Tibet. Honestly, I'm so shackled, and the only way I can escape is by my own dexterity. Otherwise, if I fail to loosen my bonds, I will plummet into a tank containing large quantities of piranha fish from Brazil. Carnivorous little creatures which can strip the flesh from the bone in 30 seconds. My assistant Brenda will demonstrate the veracity of these creatures with a leg of lamb. Leg of lamb, Brenda, please. Brenda, get the leg of lamb. Get the leg of lamb, get it. These are the most incredible creatures. Will now be demonstrated when they put the leg of lamb in the water. As I say, I've only got 30 seconds to release myself from bondage. Otherwise, I'll finish up like that. My assistant Brenda will now assist me to get shackled to my harness prior to going into the tank. Thank you, love.
Good evening, and welcome. Welcome to our show. I must confess that tonight I'm a little irate to discover a base side of human nature that hitherto I'd thought was extinct. A friend of mine is a licensee of a pub in Lancashire. It's a nice little pub. It's called Twiggy's Chest. But the beer's flat and warm. Recently, he went to a brewers' convention at the Apocalypse Hall in Glasgow. And he drank deeply of the grape. Wonderful man. He was unfamiliar with the grey old pile of Glasgow. He wanted a way to find an ablution in which to relieve himself. Fortunately, filling up. Fortunately, he staggered towards the railway line. And he tripped over an inert sleeper. Fell down the embankment and his head landed on the rail. An express coming from Aberdeen with conduit. A little unusual, it normally goes by tube. Suddenly came down and severed his head. Luckily, there was, in the guard's van, there was a Latvian immigrant. He was on his way to Maidenhead to see his brother, who was a tree surgeon. Acting swiftly with the cunning of a Russian peasant, he stopped the train by sliding his foot on the wheel. Well, always remember, Hoppy. By some miracle of endeavour, he put the head back on the severed torso and marched the victim briskly to a hospital in Glasgow. The doctors worked feverishly throughout the night. It was impossibly. It was too far gone. However, there was a dead sheep been brought in, had been run over. They took the sheep's head off and put it on his head. And he lived. Miracle of surgery. But because he was a big fella, the head was a bit too short for the torso. So he wouldn't feel completely ridiculous, the matron gave him a top hat with 2 gold earrings and a monocle on the sheep's head. And he used to sit up in bed having grass sandwiches. And his wife came to see him and she was obviously distressed. And he started going out on a tandem to strengthen himself. And people used to laugh at people, I like the dreadful. As he gained in strength, he would sit there chewing the cud. And he said, have you told them in the pub what's happened? And she said, yes. She said, they're with you to a man. They're just glad to have you back, because you've got the keys to the cellar. Only last Thursday, he was released. He shook hands with everybody. He chewed down the lawns just to clear up some of the mess. When he got to the pub, there was flags and buntings bedecked all over the public house. And no, can you imagine? He's got a sheep's head with a top hat, monocle. What? And this is human nature for you. They laughed at him. Yes! They laughed! But don't worry, he got his own back. He barred them.
Dr. Jekyll.
Oh, no.
How nice to see you again.
How nice to see
Your
you, too.
usual table, of course.
Yes, how nice of you to remember.
Would you care for an aperitif?
Yes, I think I will have a dry sherry, if I may.
Certainly, monsieur. François.
Aye?
One dry sherry for Dr. Jekyll, table number 5.
Number 5.
The most valued customer and a charming man.
Oh.
And this is your last chance.
Now hold fast, Frog. It weren't my fault last night.
Not your fault. Addressing the great Oscar Wilde like that.
Well, somebody said as how he had a sense of humour. All I could said was, hello, Jessie Wilde. That were all. It was a joke.
One dry sherry for Dr. Jekyll and no jokes.
All right, all right. Yeah, on the aisle. Good evening, Dr. Jekyll. I hope the sherry is just dried up for you. His face! There's someone up with him. He's like a Labrador.
Imbecile. I shall take him the sherry.
Well, I'm telling you, his face is off.
Dr. Jekyll, 1,000 apologies.
Ah, thank you. And I'll have a bottle of the Chambertin.
But of course, François, 1 bottle of Chambertin for Dr. Jekyll. And would you care to order, monsieur?
Yes, I think I will have some of your delicious mulligatawny soup, and then I will plump for the wild duck flambé to follow.
But of course. François, remember, you are dealing with a gentleman, so none of your droppings.
I think I'm a loose pheasant. Here's your wine, Dr. Jekyll. I think you'll be rather amused by its playfulness. It has a sort of raspberry tang that is very pleasing to the nose, subtly balanced, of course, by the chalkiness in the body, redolent of the lower slopes of the Arno. I hope it's to your liking, sir. A little too dry for you, was it? Point taken. Listen, I'm not serving that.
I knew it. More droppings. Oh, go, and get the soup.
Soup? Soup?
Dr. Jekyll, what can I say?
My dear fellow, is your waiter all right? I am, after all, a doctor.
Oh, no, he's fine. Your soup will be here in a trice. You are luckier than you deserve. Dr. Jekyll, heaven knows why, is being very relaxed about the whole thing.
Well, I wouldn't like to see him when he's got the hump. I tell you, there's something up with him, I'm telling you. Here you are, Dr. Jekyll. Here is some of your delicious mulligatawny soup.
Everything all right? Oh, one more bottle of Chambertin for Dr. Jekyll, and his main course is ready, so be quick.
To save time.
Everything all right, monsieur?
Well, Armand, you know how I hate to cause a scene, but I don't appear to have had my Chambertin or my soup.
What are you doing?
Well, it's him. He's something out of the Black Lagoon. There's nothing wrong with my man since I saw him. He's a lunatic. He could be an arsonist as well, for all I know.
You idiot. Come here. Come here. Look.
I'm not looking at you. I'm not looking at you.
Look. Is that a monster? Is that a raving lunatic?
Well, I saw him at Jean-Luc.
My apologies, Dr. Jekyll. Francois will fetch you your delicious wild duck flambé. And I myself will bring you the last bottle of Chambertin.
I don't know what to say, Dr. Jekyll. Anyway, it's been a funny day, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Weather's a lot better, but there's a depression over the yodels. Would you like your duck off the bone? Would you like... I suppose it's not the time to ask for a reference. You can deal with this one.
That's what it is about show business. Of all the facets of show business, humour is the most difficult. They say laughter is infectious. Over these last few weeks, I think we've found a cure. It doesn't matter what there is. There's got to be a humorous side to everything. I mean, I went to a restaurant with the wife the other night. We sat down, the waiter came over. I said, do you serve crabs? He said, we serve anybody. He said, have you got a reservation? I said, what the bloody hell think I'm, a Red Indian? He looked at the wife, he said, you must be a brave. The oldest form of humour was pulling faces. Now, in the north of England, we have what we call gurners. Rah. Pull faces. And the only way to illustrate how to pull a face is to paraphrase the old joke. It's a couple who got married in a lonely part of Cumbria. And she said, I love you, Arthur. I really do love you. And he said, he said, I love you as well. He said, let us... and fold our two bodies together in the act of love. He said, I will. She said, Arthur, I'm very shy. Blow the candle out. He said, all right, love.
He said, I can't let her. She gave it to me. She said, I can't let her. I can't. I can't do that. I said, I know. No, she said, my mother's downstairs. He said, well, send for your mother, all right. Mother? Mother. Mother said, what's up? Can't blow the candle out, and I can't. Come here. She said, I can't blow it out. I said, I can't. That's ridiculous. This way you go downstairs anyway. She said, your father's downstairs. Well, something with my father. Yes, father. Father came over and said, what? No. He said, they can't blow the candle. I said, I can't do it. I know, so swing of that, swing here. So you give me the candle. Well, I can't blow it down. She said, I can't. I'll try. I'm going to tell you, I'm not. What am I going to do? I don't know. You said, blow it. She said, the vicar's downstairs. Don't send for him. He's the best one. He's one of the Friday. The vicar said, what seems to be amiss? Father said, I can't blow the candle up. I can't do it. I like someone nipple cleft. I can't do it. So I tried, really. I said to my father, what do you know? He said, allow me. And in the darkness, a voice said, it's bloody marvellous what education can do for you. Good morning.
Morning.
I'd like to claim a new world record.
I see, sir.
I wish you'd hurry up. Time is of the urgency.
What's the rush, sir?
Turn to page 3, dealing with ferrets.
Pardon?
Or trousers.
Trousers?
Yes, I've got a ferret down my trousers. He's been there for some time. I'm claiming a new world record.
I'm sorry, sir, but I think there's already a world record for that particular activity.
I just broke it.
I'm not sure. I think it's 4 or 5 hours. So you reckon you've done better, do you?
How does 3 weeks grab you?
3 weeks? I say, that is incredible, sir. Yes.
Well, I wanted the record to stand for some time, you see, which is more than I can do. So if you'll hurry up, I'd be very appreciative.
Now, just a minute, sir, just a minute. I mean, how do I know that this ferret has been residing in your trousers for 3 weeks?
Are you calling me a liar?
No, I'm sorry, sir. You see, there has to be an observer.
You're not looking in my trousers?
Pardon? What's the matter, sir?
It's on the move again.
Do you mean the ferret? Does he move about a lot?
Well, he tries, but the area for exercise in there is somewhat limited.
Don't you think it's time you let him out?
It's easier said than done, you know. It's like a minefield in there.
Is it?
You see, I wear a very strong-ribbed string vest in winter. One wrong movement on my part and that creature could be trapped like a lobster in a net.
But listen, sir, if he's been there all this time, I mean, how do you feed him?
Vegetarian, thank God. No. very interesting point, actually. You see, a hungry ferret on the move in the underwear can present a problem.
Yes, so what do you do?
Well, I make a paper mache funnel.
Paper mache funnel, yes.
Put it down the front of my trousers.
Yes, down the front of the
And feed him takeaway tandoori chicken and...
I'll tell you what, sir. Why don't you hop it?
Why?
Because I don't believe you.
But I appeal to you.
I shouldn't imagine you appeal to anybody. Look, I don't even believe you've got a ferret down your trousers at all.
Right. Only one thing for it. You'll have to try and coax him out.
I say it.
Arnold. 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 He's coming. He's coming. He's coming. There.
Just a minute, that's not a real one.
It is.
That is made of plastic.
Get off. He's dead. He's got rigor mortis. It's the humidity that does it.
How dare you waste my time! Now, will you clear off and take that plastic ferret with you?
Don't you talk to us like that. Don't you?
Now, listen to me, you tubby little moron. Will you get out of here, take that stupid-looking ferret and yourself before I call the police?
I've got an elephant called Boris. Who stands on his hands and whistles Monastery Garden.
Will you get out of here before I call the police? Now, go!
Is that your last word on this?
It is my last word. Now, clear off.
I don't like your high-handed attitude.
The nerve.
Come on, Boris, he doesn't want us.
Thank you, Doctor. Are the suppositories the same length? Well. Sissy! Fancy seeing you at the doctor's.
Well, yes.
Is it the old trouble?
What trouble?
Woman's trouble. Last year when you said you might have to have an hysterical rectomy.
No, it's not that. No, that cleared up after the manipulation. Oh. Mind you, I don't feel very well. In fact, if I put my mind to it, I could be very ill indeed.
Oh?
No, it's not me I've come about, actually. I've come on behalf of Leonard.
Oh, help me God, what's up with the lad?
Well, it's his verruca. You know he's got a very big one.
Fancy.
I mean, he can hardly get his shoe on for it.
Has he tried tucking his trousers down his socks?
Oh, it's much too painful to do anything like that.
I bet he doesn't know what to do with it, does
Well,
he?
he doesn't. He doesn't. I mean, it's all he could do. I mean, he couldn't hop down here, you know.
I'm not surprised.
That's why I've come to see if Dr. Patel can give something for him.
Well, I don't see why not. I've got a lot of faith in Dr. Patel, even though he does come from Bombay. He's a chipati, you know. But he did the same for me when I came about my Bert. I told him exactly what's wrong with my Bert.
Oh? And what did he give you?
His deepest sympathy.
Not surprised, knowing your Bert, you deserve all the sympathy you can get. I mean, what's the matter with this scoundrel now?
It happened 2 days ago. Well, 2 nights ago, actually, after he'd been to the pub.
I'm surprised he can afford to go to a pub on the dole like he is.
Anyway, I went down to the pub, and the landlord likes my Bert, you know, because he once cleared a boil upon his whippet's neck. And between you, he lets him suck the beer mats.
So that's why he had all his teeth out.
Got a very deep cavity in the back. He was stood at the bar having a quiet suck. When an old friend of his from the army days came in.
And you know my Bert, well, I don't have to tell you, but my Bert was one of the unsung heroes of World War II.
Yes.
His full story may never be told. The War Office slapped an embargo on his memoirs. My Bert was very important, you know. Everywhere he went chained to MPs, you know. Oh, yeah. Well, this army chum of his and Bert, of course, they were together. They were trapped in a rainforest near Rangoon during the monsoon period, behind Japanese lines, sheltering with remnants of the 14th Army.
Shindits.
Oh, they all had them. They had nothing to eat but sedentary armadillos. Well, obviously, I could understand. They had a few drinks too many, and... Well, my Bert came home about 2 o'clock in the morning, and he just fell asleep, sat on the lavatory. And he was still there the following morning. Sissy, I didn't know what to do. He'd lost the use of his legs.
Oh, say.
Every time I picked him up, he fell back on the...
I say, well, perhaps it was psychosomatic.
No, it's the old-fashioned sort with the chain flux. Actually, we've got a crack in the pedestal after have it grouted. But I sent for Dr. Patel, and, you know, he came straight away.
And what was the matter with him?
What?
With Bert, as he couldn't get off the toilet. I mean, was it some sort of muscular seizure?
Sort of. His braces were fast around the system.
Typical. Anyway, that's enough about your Bert. What about you, Chuck?
Oh, I don't feel so bad in myself, you know. I've got this cluster of varicose veins at the back of my leg. I shall have to have them pulled through Bupa.
I was just thinking he looked a trifle wan.
Well, let's face it, you know, I am at a funny age. I wouldn't tell another living soul this, of course. I'm approaching the change.
Approaching the change? From which direction?
What do you mean?
Well, I would have thought your batteries had run out years ago.
I'll have you know that my family has a tradition of fertility. We're a very fertile family. Very fertile. My cousin Bertha got copped when she was 59. And she swears she only walked past a sausage factory.
Well, anyway, changing the subject, what are you here at the doctor's for?
Well, I've got a lot of confidence in Dr. Patel, even though he's a popadomy. Our Miriam came here for an X-ray, and to find where the blockage was, he gave her a Bavarian meal.
You mean barium?
No, she kept her bra and knickers on. Well, I came because I've got the most... I can tell you can't.
Oh, my lips are sealed.
I've got the most peculiar complaint. Every winter I get very heavily chapped legs, especially on the inner thigh. And it's very embarrassing when I'm wearing a hoorah skirt with a handkerchief hem. Now, I've tried rubbing myself with algae-pan. Doesn't seem to work. And this happens every time the clocks go back. Well, I've been in to see him today, Dr. Patel, wonderful. And he cured my chapped legs in 5 minutes.
Right, did he give you an injection?
No, he took 2 inches off me Wellington boots.